How's it going, everyone? This is Trick from Meta Smash, and I want to quickly let you guys know that I'm going to be hosting a Nail the Trick Combo Mastery Seminar. There's going to be over an hour of Nail the Trick content, so if you're interested, there'll be a link in the description. And with that being said, let's get into the video. That's weird. That is gonna kill. Okay. Yeah, I think same thing was happening with the other guy too. Quite a few times towards the end there, where there was extreme danger on your part, and you were opting to swing on me versus protect yourself. If there's anything that we've taken away from tonight, that's got to be what it is for sure, is that you just got to try and pay attention to your percent and your stocks a little bit more, so that if you're in a bad spot, you should just know, okay, if I swing here, I could die. If I'm wrong, or even if I trade. When you went for the up B and you missed, that's a little bit different. But there was also spots like when you had no jump and you came down with like a fair right in front of me. And I just walked out of the way and then I didn't do anything. But I could have F smashed you right there, or gone for forward tilt or up smash, or dash out of the way and then gone for maybe a dash attack if I was fast. Like a lot of bad things could have happened right there. So you just got to be super careful. And that's like, as far as consistency, those are those things where it's like, to be honest, like honestly, if you're consistently choosing the path of aggression, then that's where things can fall apart. And it's like, well, how am I losing? Like, this doesn't make any sense. In some cases, it might feel like that, but more often than not, when you're losing to somebody, and whether or not they're a better player than you or they're playing as a faster character than you, I will say basically 1 out of 10 times is the answer: play more aggressive. The answer should be step out of the way, shield, jump out of the way, dash out of the way, reset, slow down the game. Because if you're getting not necessarily outplayed, but like if you're just constantly making decisions that are putting you in bad spots, you're making the game a lot easier for the opponent, because they don't have to work for a lot of their punishes, right? They can almost flail, and then you're falling into stuff as well. Really pay attention to your percent and your stocks, because that should be shaping your overall gameplay as well too. If you're up by a mile on somebody and you can style on them or take an aggressive play to try and kill them early, then go ahead. But if you're down, or if the game is tied, then you got to try and play it a little bit more evenly. I always compare it to boxing as well, because like if you think about boxing or any fighting realistically, but we'll stick with boxing. Boxers both have the ability to knock each other out in one punch, but they don't ever go for that. They don't go for that as their first punch ever, right? They might circle the ring multiple times and feel each other out and go for jabs and body shots and do fakes and all kinds of stuff to try and figure out the opponent. And if the opportunity is there to knock the other person out, then they will. But if they don't ever get the opportunity, they don't just try and do it over and over and over again and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. In regards to Smash, trying to knock somebody out in boxing, comparing that to Smash, does not necessarily mean that all you were doing is F smashing, because that's not what was happening. It's more so looking at someone's aerial drift, and if you're drifting towards someone and saying, I'm going to land on you with a fair, while the opponent could shield and up smash, or shield and grab, or up B or whatever, and just kill you out of shield because you're at a high percent. If you hit them, you get your hit, but if you land on their shield or you miss, then you die, right? And this is not worth going for. So yeah, it's a mental shift that has to be made. It's because I think you know how to play your character. That's not the problem at all. It's just decisions being made. That's what the game realistically boils down to. Just making good decisions consistently to keep yourself safe and making yourself as hard to kill as possible. That's what, if you look at any top players basically, unless they're fighting another top player, they run people over because they are unkillable, because they don't make stupid mistakes. You should try to flip around your thinking a little bit and say, if someone's consistently beating you, it can be frustrating to lose, but you should also be inspired by the fact that they're making all the right decisions, right? And you want to try and get to that point yourself as well too. So instead of saying, okay, like this is horse shit, maybe that's not what you're saying, but you might be thinking that. You should be thinking like, how do they just know what I'm doing? How do they just know what to do at all the right times all the time, right? I'll say someone like Gold Hat Cat or Tom or Corvin. There's a guy in there now. His name is, I think it's Celestia. He's a PT player. And these guys are really fucking good. Same thing with Atsy, if you haven't played against him yet. If you're playing against them and they're all just destroying you, it's like they're all probably seeing the same thing. So it's not impossible to get to that level even. Just you should be asking them or reaching out to them, being like, not that they have to like sit you down and give you like a full-on lecture or anything, but like, what do they see and what would they do differently if they were you, right? instead of going for neutral get up shield then fair out of the corner, like when you're getting up from ledge, what would you do differently to get out of that situation so you don't feel like you should be doing that? There's some things that you can be practicing on your own, just like theory crafting it, so you have some other ideas to go along. Or they might even just give you advice straight up and say, like, every time you do that, I just dash back and F smash and kill you. Or I dash back and up smash or jump away back air and just hit you first every single time. And you're making the game, like I said, much too easy for them because you're just going for the aggressive play out of the corner when you don't have to. Let me make another analogy for you, bro. If you make $20 an hour, is that a lot of money?
$20 an hour.
It might be a lot of money if you're someone who makes minimum wage, then you start to make $20 an hour. It feels like a lot of money. What if someone else is making $50 an hour? Is that a lot of money, or $100 an hour, or $1,000 a day, or $10,000 a month, or whatever it might be, and up and up and up and up? The reason why I'm saying that is because your idea of safe might be a $10 or $20 an hour mentality, if that makes sense, versus a top player's idea of safe play. They could be someone who's if we're going to go with the money example, a 6-figure income earner versus someone who makes 30 grand a year. If you're someone who's never made 30 grand a year, it's like, holy shit, I have so much money, I can do all this stuff. If you're someone who's making $1 million, that feels like that's nothing. They make more than that in a month. So the reason why I'm saying that is because with regards to playing safely in the game, it's like, oh, I'm making all these great decisions and I'm playing so safely. Meanwhile, someone who's like a top player or a very high level player, they look at what you're doing and they say everything you do is very, very reckless or very aggressive. You could be toning down the aggression even more. And if it feels like, how is that even possible? It's like, fight better players and you'll see how it's possible, because better and better players will always be able to play tremendously patient, and they'll make you feel like your character's playing in quicksand because they're just doing nothing but making you miss. Play against a good Joker and see how many grabs you miss. You'll basically never land a single grab in your life against a good Joker. It's basically impossible. In which case, it feels like if you play against someone who's relatively new or mid-level, you get like 10, 15 grabs per stock if they're not good, right? And then there's some Joker players who play against them, and you might get 3 or 4 grabs in the entire set because they're just not making mistakes. Because their idea of patient is you will never ever touch me, right? Versus someone else is like, yeah, I'll just dance around for a little bit, then just dash attack because I can, or I'll just run up and go for a down tilt, or run up and go for a pivot cancel forward tilt because I can, or I'll just jump in with fair. It's like, well, were you given any information before that to say that you should jump in with fair? It's like, no, I just wanted to, and it's been 10 seconds and I haven't done anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. It's like, well, then if you had waited for the 11th or 12th second, maybe they would have been less patient and you could have got a reversal. I'm not saying never ever interact, but in a lot of cases, if you just be the aggressor or the person that's forcing the issue, you can get yourself finessed, and then that's how a good player will have a snowballing lead, because now they never have to do anything, and they can consistently run away forever or play as safe as they have to forever, because now you're playing from behind.